Hi Aries, welcome to your January 2024 energy reading. My name is Kimberly from the Path Illuminated. If you are returning, thank you so much for your support and for being here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on when I post new content here. Aries, I hope you're doing well. I hope that you are doing your best to take care of you. Happy New Year, as we say, since we all follow the Gregorian calendar. As I'm recording this, it's January 3rd. We are still in Capricorn season. Some of the January astrological highlights, and this is by no means an exhaustive list, just some of the key astrological transits that I'm aware of. I'm not an astrologer, but I do love astrology, and I think it's helpful to understand the energies. We did have Mercury stationing direct on January 1st, although we are still technically in the 2-week post-shadow phase, so there can still be some miscommunications, confusion, tech issues. This is actually the second time I'm attempting to record your January reading, and I just kind of had to laugh and be like, well, we are in Mercury retrograde post-shadow, so like just continue to exercise patience if you can. But there's going to be a lot of planets moving into Capricorn. January 4th, Mars will be in Capricorn. January 11th, we'll have a new moon in Capricorn. January 13th, Mercury goes into Capricorn. One huge transit of our lifetime where a planet is moving out of Capricorn. We have Pluto moving into Aquarius on January 20th. And I'm not like, I don't have the dates, this particular date written down, but I believe Pluto will move back into Capricorn for a brief period in the fall. Like I believe it's November. I could be wrong. But then Pluto will move back into Aquarius at the end of the year, and it'll be there for the next 20 years. So for most of our lifetimes, and this is going to, and is already starting to cause quite a shift collectively. And then January 23rd, Venus moves into Capricorn. So lots of Saturn energy. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Saturn is all about teaching us how to accomplish our goals through consistency and discipline, which we don't always like. Anyways, all right, Aries, again, thank you for being here. This is going to be a collective energy reading for Aries for January 2024. This is not a personal reading, so please put yourself where you go. Take the messages that resonate, leave the rest. If you are interested in a personal reading, I will link my details below. Please note that the only way to book a personal reading with me is via my website. I will never reach out to you directly to solicit or consider you for a reading. Neither will any other ethical reader. This is my only YouTube channel, and all of my social media handles are exactly the same. At the Path Illuminated, all one word. No special characters, no spaces, no numbers, no punctuation. Please be aware of scammers and imposter accounts. Please protect yourself out here. And something I always like to state before I start any reading is to always trust yourself, your own judgment and discernment. This is your life. You know better than anyone else what's going on. And remember that you have free will, Aries. So if something comes out in the reading that you're not super happy with, remember you can change your perspective, how you deal with a person or a situation. Nothing is set in stone. We shift energy and opportunities based on how we engage with the world around us. All right, let's get going. Thank you, angels, spirits, and guides. Please help me in pulling the most clear and accurate, relevant messages for the Aries collective for January. What messages, Spirit, do you have for the Aries collective? Thank you, angel spirits and guides. What are the most relevant messages for the Aries collective at this time? What messages? Can I get one more card for Aries? Okay. Let me just get the clarifying deck here. I always want to make sure y'all can actually see the cards. Shuffle these. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, if the messages resonate, please like the video. Also, let me know how this energy is showing up for you. One way for me to connect more with your energy and to pull clearer messages for you on this channel is for you to actually engage with the content, which it means liking, subscribing, commenting, right? If you can't afford a personal reading, understandable, but any content creator that you're engaging with, a way to energetically support them if you don't have the ability to do it monetarily is to like videos, to comment on videos. It helps the algorithm to pick them up for other people. All right, thank you, angel spirits and guides. Why is Judgment here? Reverse. All right, why is the Hangman here in reverse for Aries? Angel spirits and guides. That's way too many cards. Just one or two for the Hangman in reverse for Aries. Okay. Why is the... Oh, that was quick. Four of Wands. Okay. Why is the Queen of Pentacles here, Spirit? For Aries. Why is the Queen of Pentacles? Okay. And why is the Star in reverse here for Aries for January? All right, Aries, let me just take a sip of water. My throat's been a little annoyed, irritated. All right, make sure you can see. Sorry, y'all, you're always my first reading, so it's like I always end up having to make some small adjustments as far as like the camera angle and whatnot, so. All right. Judgment in reverse clarified by the Queen of Wands in reverse. So it looks like you're not really feeling like you can trust your judgment. You're feeling out of sorts. You're not quite feeling like yourself. Whatever clarity you've been looking for at this moment in January, Aries, you're feeling like you don't have it. You're feeling like you're not really sure what's going on, where your next step is. Maybe you're judging yourself because of a lack of motivation. You know, something I think it's important to acknowledge is that, you know, I'm in the Northern Hemisphere, so we're still in winter, right? And even though the days are getting lighter, it's still pretty dark and chilly, cold. And, you know, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you're still in summertime. However, right, regardless of what you do or don't celebrate, we just had the end of 2023, the beginning of 2024. Likely you took some time off or celebrated some holidays. Maybe you traveled, you just took some downtime. And then January, right? Like, even though, regardless of how you might be feeling, a lot of us go back to work, we go back to our projects, we try to go back to our life, right? The way that it was before things sort of slowed down. And you just may not be feeling the motivation like you're used to. You may be feeling really unclear about what your next step is. You're definitely tired of being in solitude. You don't want to be. You're kind of in this place where you're really, really wanting to push yourself forward. Now, as I mentioned, right, as we're coming out of this Mercury retrograde, and we're currently, as I'm recording this, in the post-shadow period, which is 2 weeks after Mercury stations direct, I think as far as like, even though you may not be feeling motivated, you may not feel a fire under you to get things done, and you might be struggling with that. I think as you're like coming out of this period of perhaps being, taking some time out, taking a different perspective, you're getting really clear on what it is that you want. I just think it's sort of like, this is something that came to me earlier when I was watching another reading by a reader I love, Jess from High Priestess Healing Tarot. It's like the energetic work, the internal work, it has to be done before we can take action. Motivation doesn't just come to us, but Aries, obviously, like, you are a fire sign. You're the first zodiac sign of the astrological wheel, right? You are typically the entrepreneur, the go-getter. And I think what it is that you're not necessarily feeling at this moment, at the beginning of January, that incentive to just go for it. And you're kind of not sure why. And I think what this is saying is that as you start to come out of maybe some downtime, taking time off for the holidays, spending time alone, as you're coming out of that, you're going to start to gain clarity. It just may not be necessarily right away in the form of taking action, right? It's like there are things, feelings, thoughts that you've been sitting with, and you've been very unclear and not trusting your own judgment. And I think that was for a reason, right? This Mercury retrograde that we just had at the end of the year, it slowed a lot of people down, and not everybody has been or is able to always respond to their own natural state of flow, because it ebbs and it flows. There are times where we need to be doing more, and there are times that we need to be doing less. And I think as this year is starting, you like want to be doing. And I think it may be after this 2-week post-shadow period that you start to get clarity, right? It's like, first you're struggling with like, why don't I feel motivated? Like, I don't feel like myself. I'm not sure what to do. And then you just kind of start like coming out of solitude, coming out of like the holiday fog, getting out into the world. And then you start to gain clarity about who you are, what you want, right? Before you start doing, you're going to need to get clear about what it is that you want, Aries. So perhaps this Mercury retrograde that we just went through and are coming out of right now was about you starting to learn that it's really important to give yourself time to think before you act. Because when you do that, it leads you in the direction of stability, 4 of Wands. Stability in friendships, stability in work, stability in romantic relationships, right? If you can think before you speak, if you can think before you act, if you can try to understand that, like, we're not our thoughts or our feelings, Aries. We are the observer observer of both of those. And thoughts and feelings are important data, but if we can learn to think before we speak and learn to think before we act, we're typically going to be coming from a more grounded place. And we're also going to call in more grounded and stable connections and situations in our lives. Water, give me 1 second. Now, it's interesting, 5 of Swords in reverse. So for me, this is like, to get what you want, Aries, you do not always have to cut people off. You don't always have to be mean. You don't always have to be sneaky. You don't always have to be strategic. And that might be really difficult for you. I think that there is a call here, Aries, for you to heal an old way of being, an old way of thinking, an old way of engaging with the world around you and your relationships. And it's not going to be easy. Like I said, you are a fire sign, and fire signs are actually very emotional and very intuitive. It just comes in the form of gut instinct and impulse. And that's not always wrong. However, it's imperative, right, to think before you act and to ask yourself, Aries, what are my motivations behind this? What is my end goal, right? And that may be a struggle for you because in the past, you've sort of just leaned on the fact that everyone is just out for themselves, right? Everyone is being cutthroat, so therefore I need to be cutthroat. And I think the universe is telling you that if you actually want to continue to call in more aligned, stable connections, again, whether they're friends, whether they're coworkers, whether they're business associates, whatever, you have to learn that you don't always have to be cutthroat in order to get what you want. It's about realizing, Aries, that you already have everything that you want. You have everything that you need, right? When you focus on the right things that are going to lead you to abundance, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to make choices about your path forward. But it's about integrating your thoughts, your feelings, and your intuition. It's like the pause between feeling, thought, and action is where your intuition lies. And that's honestly, your intuition is what's going to help you make your best, make a decision about the best way to move forward. Now, this could very well have to do with work, career. It could just be a way of being in your life. You definitely want to focus on the things that are bringing you financial stability. And with the Magician, always, right, this individual has the sword, has the pentacle, has the wand, has the cups. So it's like everything is available to you. And I'm also drawn to the infinity symbol above the Magician's head because it's also an 8. And we are in an 8 year. And this is all about that discipline I was talking about, right? With all of this Capricorn energy, that like, it's not just about being disciplined, Aries, with showing up to work and clocking in and getting your projects done. It's also about the discipline of listening and trusting your own inner guidance and how you are going to move forward. Anything that has not been working out for you, and it's interesting, Temperance and the Star both talk about healing. They're both in reverse. Clarified by the 10 of Swords here, which is also the Everything is Fine in the Modern Witch Tarot. You can't heal, Aries. You can't heal yourself. You can't heal others. You can't heal relationships. You can't overcome old thought patterns and bad habits until you acknowledge that you're hurt. You can only distract yourself from yourself for so long. You can only distract yourself from the pain for so long. You can only distract yourself from the reality of what is no longer working for so long. Eventually, you're going to not be able to run away from the fact that you waiting for someone else to see you as you are, to see you as the star, you waiting for someone else to give you permission to shine bright, waiting for someone else to confirm what you already know intuitively, waiting on somebody else to show you the way is actually what's going to end up hurting you in the end. But anything that's ending, Aries, whether it is a relationship or a job or a project or a friendship, whatever it is, whatever is coming to an end is going to be the thing that brings you even more clarity than you already have. As I do think this first part of January is you coming to that place of understanding that in order for you to gain stability, you're going to have to let go of some ways of operating in the world and some beliefs, right? You're going to have to really know what you have and understand that you have everything that you need no matter what lies ahead. And any relationship, connection, or situation that you have been giving your power away to, right? Maybe you have a job that like you really have been relying on this job, this career, this title to prove to everyone else that you're so great, you're so accomplished, you're so whatever, right? But deep down underneath that all, you don't actually feel that confident. And if you were to lose that job, it would destroy your own view of yourself. When that's the case, oftentimes those are the things that have to end, Aries, in order for us to fully step into our own power. If you're in a relationship that this person, because they're with you, because they value you, because they show up, because you can say, oh, I'm in this relationship. If that's the thing that makes you feel good about yourself, the universe many times will remove that relationship from us, because in order to have sustained stability in our life, in all areas of our life, we have to have that grounding within ourselves, with or without anything external. The external things are great, but sometimes we don't actually realize that the reason we're insecure is because we've been relying on outside sources for our stability versus understanding, realizing, and connecting to the truth that it's within us and that we already have everything that we need. And if there is something that we're, grasping for, hoping for, that we have to first start with going within and getting clarity about how we're blocking ourselves. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into this message. Spirit, what advice do you have for Aries in order to... Okay, so after a lot of sleepless nights, overthinking, ruminating, questioning yourself, going through this process, you are eventually going to end up with the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is about you being emotionally fulfilled. This is about this. You're going to find this when you more deeply connect with your inner self and with spirit, because that's ultimately what's going to get you through anything and everything that's ending. Endings, Aries, even when we know they need to happen, or even if we've been asking for it, they're not easy. So it's like very clear to me that when this ends, it makes you like start to question yourself again. There's like definitely this back and forth energy of getting really clear and like knowing what it is you have to do. And as you start to tap into that inner knowing, anything and everything that has been holding you back, whether you realize it or not, any person, any situation, any job that you've been giving your power away to, that's going to end, and that's not going to be easy at all. And it's definitely going to put you into a place of like really questioning yourself. But in that dark night of the soul, Aries, you're going to come to realize what really matters, what you actually need to be happy, what you actually need to be emotionally fulfilled, which is typically not what we've been taught or programmed to believe. It's usually much different. Okay. Four of Swords, you're going to need to find time to rest. Something that really came up for me at the end of the year, I joined a New Year's Eve gathering where we did intention setting, a sound bath. It was actually really lovely. And something that came to me is the need for space, the need for time to quote unquote do nothing, the time for quiet, to learn how to respond to our body's need to find that space to integrate, because this is a lot of mental energy, Aries. You're having a lot of downloads through some really painful situations and endings. And even if we know something intellectually, it often takes us a bit more time to integrate those lessons that we've learned. And it requires a tremendous amount of rest for our bodies and our hearts to catch up with what we know logically, right? That like, I don't want to be this way. This isn't working for me. I know this ended for my own good, but like, can I really trust myself? And getting really clear about, oh, wow, you know, that job, that career actually didn't make me happy. What I want is so much more. And that can be a grieving process all on its own. And even if you're at a place of finally accepting it, you just might need to take some more time to rest, to nap, to integrate, to allow your body to catch up with what you know. Spirit, what additional advice? Ooh. Seven of Swords in reverse. As long as you're not lying to yourself, Aries, no one else is going to be able to pull one over on you, okay? Be honest with yourself. Understand that everything begins and ends with your relationship with self. And as long as you're not lying to yourself, you will be able to point out anyone that's trying to mislead you or take advantage of you. Just be honest with you. Don't lie to yourself about the situation, about something that's ended. Don't convince yourself to go back to a situation that has ended many times. You know, if you've broken up with somebody more than once, twice, 3, 4, whatever, you know, like, let it be. Right? You can still love someone, care for somebody, and come to a place where you're like, that doesn't work for me. You can appreciate a job, a career, right? It can be painful and difficult to leave, but like, don't tell yourself that you love a job that you hate. Don't tell yourself that a relationship is going to work out when deep down you know it's not going to, because you've already been down this road. Right? Keep it real with yourself, even when it's painful, because ultimately it's going to help you be clear about who you are, what you want, and how to accomplish that. The Lovers card of Gemini, you do have some really big choices to make in January, sorry. And it's not necessarily going to be easy, but start with getting clear about who you are and what you want. Understand that you have everything that you need. And the only reason, Aries, why you would not feel like you're being acknowledged, seen, understood, heard, is because you're holding on to a situation that needs to end. It's probably needed to end for a while. And yeah, is that going to hurt? Yes. Even if you know it's time. Is it going to hurt? Yes. Is it going to keep you up at night? Yes. Are you going to overthink? Yes. But at some point, you're going to come to this place of a full realization that, like, in order for me to get what I want, all of these other things that are no longer aligned, they have to go. And then providing yourself with the time and the rest so that you can start to integrate these harsh truths about yourself, about your life, about your choices, right? So that you don't continue to make choices based on what you think is right, based on what you think other people would want you to do. You have to make the right decision for you, Aries. And that only happens when you get clear that you are more than your thoughts. You are more than your feelings. And if you can tap into your higher self, into your intuition, and start to accept the harsh truths and endings, right, that are, again, painful, that's how you get your 10 of Cups. That's how you get clear about who is worth your time. That's how you get clear about the type of career, the type of job, the type of purpose you're trying to follow, is by cutting back, cutting away from everything that is not what you want it to be. The things that are making you feel like you aren't appreciated, you aren't seen, you aren't heard. Understand that a job or a relationship, whichever one it is, Aries, you are not going to convince a manager or a partner that you are worth more if they're already taking advantage of you and taking you for granted. You have to let things end when they're done. Again, not easy, but ultimately that's where you're going to get clarity about what you need and how to come to this place of making a really big choice about who you're going to be in this new year, Aries. All right, Aries, I'm going to leave it there, but I want to close out with an oracle card. Might pull a few oracles here. Okay, I'm going to pull a card from the Soft Cosmic Concepts Oracle deck. Spirit, what final advice do you have for Aries? Oh, good. Number 7, nothing. On days I feel like nothing, I remember the vast nothingness of space. There is beauty in the state of nothing. What did I say? You need time to do nothing, Aries. You need time away from people. You need time away from friends. You need time away from the noise of the world so that you can get clear about what's working for you and what's not. Possibilities, infinities, creativity, indecision, affirmation. I am infinite. Didn't we just see, I was pointing out the infinity sign here? Imagine yourself as a painter, and right before your brush touches the canvas, you have the possibility to paint anything you want. You have endless infinities to choose from. Although your canvas contains nothing, in that blank space, it contains everything, all the possibilities you can imagine. This card is a reminder that you are infinite and full of possibilities. Sometimes this card can even mean that you have trouble making decisions because you have so many choices to choose from. Ooh, yeah. But here's the thing, Aries. When you get clear about what's not working for you anymore, it becomes a lot easier to choose what does work for you. You just have to accept some of those harsh truths. One more card from the Universe Has Your Back deck. When I think I surrender more. There's some more surrendering you're going to need to do this month, Aries. It's for your ultimate good. Don't let anybody convince you that endings are failures. They're not, because you know, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. And I definitely think that this is time for you to embrace that. The things that are not working for you, it's time to let them go. It's time to let them end, no matter how painful they'll be. Removing the things that are filling up your life leaves the space for nothing so that you can create your own reality. All right, Aries, I hope these messages resonated for you, and I will see you next time. Bye.